A very good evening to you. I am Lisa Lord, and our focus this evening is on the Challenor Creative Arts and Training Centre located here in Canefield, St. Thomas. My special guest is a lady who knows all about the centre, the principal, Mrs. Sonia Pyle. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for coming to the Challenor Creative Arts and Training Centre.
It's my pleasure. Now, the Challenor Creative Arts and Training Centre was founded in 1964, and it's a school for young disabled children and also serves as an adult training facility. Now, it is the only facility, as I understand it, which can cater to the educational needs of those with mild to severe disabilities. But I want to start by looking at the school. Tell us about the wide range of programs that you offer at the school.
You're correct that it is the only school. We do have other schools that offer programs for persons with disabilities. Right now, the programs we cater to students who have autism, Down syndrome, sickle cell, diabetes, and students who have G-tubes. Let me just explain what some of those disabilities are. You have the sickle cell. Sickle cell is a group of red blood disorders, and it causes the red blood cells to be misshapen. It causes pain by a shortage of healthy blood cells, which do not carry enough oxygen. These students need blood transfusions, and they also get medication. The G-tube, for students who do not eat or who have issues with feeding, the device is placed within the stomach to allow them to get nutrients and medication. We have another disability with Angelman's. Angelman's. We have a student here who has it. We had two students, another student, but this student is still here, and he's nonverbal, but occasionally he will call another staff member's name, which is easy to pronounce. And he is happy most of the time. He laughs a lot. He can get irritated, and then he will scratch or maybe hit you, but it's not in a harmful way. And if you call him and he's not interested, he'll just do that. He'll just ignore you. And those are just two of the disabilities, just three, that I think are more interesting than the autism and the others that everybody knows. Because we've had another student here who had maple syrup urine disease, and it's just what it says. His urine smelled like maple syrup, and he required a special diet, special milk product. Unfortunately, he died, but he is in your hearts, always. Yeah.
So those are the types of disabilities you cater for, but what are the programs that you have at the school itself? Okay,
the programs, we have a multiple exceptionalities class. That class caters to students. The student with the Angelman's is in that class, and they focus on learning the colors, matching the names, matching letters, counting, and we utilize technology in the daily lesson plans. We had the tablets during COVID, and those are the ones that they use in school. They also engage in sensory activities, life skills, feeding, toileting, which people don't think is really necessary sometimes for persons with disabilities to know all these things, because parents can do it for them, but that's not what we want. We want the children to be as independent as possible. The teacher in the class also creates most of her resources. Resources can be bought here, and you can order them from outside, but sometimes they're very busy, and the students need resources that are specific. So you've got a page that's got just colors on it, just one color, and not 4 and 5. Then the next page has another color. And she has developed books specifically for each color. So you'll have a purple book that each page has a different activity on it that has purple. There's an orange book, and there's a red book. So it's quite talented, and she creates all her manipulatives as well. It takes time. It requires us to buy the materials, the laminating sheets, the Bristol boards, the ink to print all the items that she's creating. And then some of them are specific for the students in the class. The others can be used across the board with any student that comes to the school. And it can be transferred to another class should another teacher needs to use it. Due to COVID, we wipe everything off. We're still doing that. The next class would be the progressive class. This is a class where the students are between the ages of 9 and 16. varying intellectual development, and we do small group and individual programs here. They look at language arts, math, social studies, which people wouldn't think Challenor does social studies. A couple of weeks ago, they went to Speightstown to look at the water, the ocean. They went to look at the fish, and in that, then she started to look at what happens in Speightstown, where it is. So there's a whole activity that went around Speightstown. They drew the boardwalk. And it's quite interesting when you go in the classroom and you see that the students are engaged in this activity. Art plays an important role in the class. Art in math, art in language arts, art in science, art in social studies. Art is throughout all the areas that they're learning. And she's very good in working with the students, and they learn a lot. And if you ask questions, they can respond. And that's what we want. We want the children to be able to speak, say what they're learning. It will never be like in a regular primary school, but they can. And she pushes them. She's very good at what she does. She pushes the students to get them to try. She also pushes the parents, because we have to work with the parents to get them to realize that your child has this capability and you may not see it, but we see it. And we want you to work with us to get him to where he needs to be. We know where the child can go. We see it. But how do we get him there? And every avenue that we can use to get him there is what we use. If it's going outside and counting the numbers in the cars, finding the blue car outside, finding the red truck, they do that. We use the environment to teach. Like I said, she's very good. And also to discussions. She has discussions with the students in the class. She'll discuss anything, anywhere, anytime. She is also our science teacher when we attend the National Science and Technology Festival at the university. She is the liaison for that. And she does butterflies. She's done some things that you would do in a primary school when you have the moths when you get the cocoon and then it turns into, she did that. Why would you do that with those children? But would they understand? Of course. It's an activity and it's art. The room was full of art. And she had the butterflies and everybody had a butterfly. And it was fantastic, because it's not something that you would expect in this type of environment. Sorry, I keep rattling on about that.
No, please.
Okay. We have our therapy classroom. This class has students who are physically challenged. There are 19 students. We have 2 rehab therapy technicians. One of them is an EMT as well, because some of our students have seizures, others have medical conditions. While everybody has been trained in first aid, we found that we needed someone who could be more hands-on in terms of medical knowledge, and she is that person. In that area, besides the therapy, let me give you an example. This term, they're doing a theme on under the ocean. Everything is ocean. So you can do, once again, academics in therapy. You can do counting the fish. You can look at the octopus, how many tentacles it have. You do sensory in having the sand run through their hands. They can feel the seashells. So all of that happens within therapy, which you wouldn't really think is something that would happen with students, but it does. And art, they created dioramas. So we collected sand from the beach. We collected shells, and everybody sent in a shoebox, and they created a diorama. And the students, hand over hand, they put the sand in, the glue, the sand, and they put all the little animals in. So you would have to see the dioramas to see how extensive the work was that was done, and it's displayed nicely. It's a beautiful piece. The sensory room has light and sound, and it's to calm the students down. It's also to help the staff to relax sometimes, because when you're in there with the students and they're screaming or crying, you put them in there and you're with them. So you're calm. The lights, you have a black light to look like stars, and you have your aromatherapy, so you can use scents in there and that it's a beautiful room to be in, and I think that you will enjoy the room. We have our life skills class. Life skills, what the teacher does with the students, functional academics, money, time.
Yeah.
She started to sell items in the class. We wanted to develop a store in the class. That way they would get to know change, but we will not do like 95 cents and 75 cents. It would be just straight money, $2, $3 straight. Then she's working now with the adults. What she's doing with the adults is looking at work skills. What do you need to do to get a job? What kind of job do you want? How do you behave when you get a job? How do you fill out an application? So she works with the woodwork students, and when she has those students, her students go to woodwork. When she has food prep, they go to food prep. When she has the students for Sonia Craft, they go to Sonia Craft. So it's an exchange.
And we've crossed over now into the adult facility. Tell us about the programs that you've hinted at in your adult facility.
In the adult facility, we have Sonia Craft, food preparation. I know them. Sonia Craft, food preparation, agriculture, and woodwork. What happens in that area? First, let's look at food preparation. In food preparation, we have 6 students who have graduated with certification in food preparation and cookery, level 1. And that is fantastic. I mean, for a school with persons with disabilities, that's beyond belief. However, these students would need to find jobs. That is a challenge.
And that's a topic we're going to come back to.
Challenge with persons with disabilities. Right now, they're making jams and jellies for the Freedom Park on December 10th. We have juices. We have sorrel, carambola jam and juices. And some of these products were at the BADMC last year. We had a lot of things out there last year, but because of COVID, we had to cut back. We're hoping to start these products back again in the stores. We had them at the airport, and we're hoping that we can do that again. That's forward planning. When it comes now to woodwork, they're working on ironing boards for a hotel. They're making 50 ironing boards right now. We've made ironing boards before for the same hotel. So because of the good work they did, we got the clients back. They're making items to sell. A collapsible stool, which may be able to be used with car racing, or if you're going out picnicking, you can open it and it become a table or a stool. Besides the ironing boards, wine racks, coasters, cutting boards. So these are some of the items that they have made and will continue to make. It is also a TVET approved area. So the students in there can get their TVET certification.
Right.
They can do units. They may not be able to complete the entire, but they can get part of units. Yes?
In terms of the ages you cater to in your adult facility?
The ages are from 18 to 55. We don't want to warehouse children, as Dr. Campbell, who's the president of the association, has said. If you send them home, what will happen? What we need is for society to offer jobs to persons with disabilities. So we have students in the Sonia Craft department who can make jewelry. We have them, they've made quilts. We make journals that could be for sketching. So if you have these skills, where will they go with these skills? Everybody can't just go home and do nothing. They can maybe start a cottage industry, but who's going to help them do that?
Yeah.
A lot of them can't apply to YES to get help. So society needs to look at these things, and we're working with them, and they're willing to work. That's the thing. Persons with disabilities are willing to work, but how do you get them into jobs?
Yeah, they need to be given the opportunity.
They need to be given the opportunity. We have our green team, and that is the persons who work, the young men you will see outside who keep the grounds clean. They also grow produce. We grow basil, we've grown parsley, thyme, carrots, which we sell, and cucumbers, which we sell to Massey, we've sold to Jordan's, and we sell to hawkers. That money then comes back to the school, back into the green team, and it helps them to buy other projects, to plant, and also to buy equipment. And sometimes it pays the students as well. Any monies that are made from any of the departments, the students get a stipend from that. So if we're able to sell our products and we can put them out there, then we're able to pay them a stipend.
And in terms of, is it a case where you graduate from the school to the adult facility?
If you're able to be independent. In each area, there's an assessment. You have to be able to travel on the bus independently, because once you leave the school, you're no longer on our buses. You travel on transport board. You have to be able then to function in each area. You take the assessment. You have to be able to cook. They'll teach you all of the steps you need, but you must be independent to do that. There's no help from the teachers in terms of what you have in the school. So we have a student who has transitioned to food prep. We were trying to work with her. She has a walker. So we're thinking that because she has a walker, we're a special school, we can find a way to fit her in. But unfortunately, she had a fear of the stove. She has a fear of heat. So we had to move her. We have another student who transitioned just recently, last term, into food prep. She's doing quite well. She's learning quite well. What the teachers do in food prep, let me show you an example. They use technology. So they're going to use Kahoots and they're going to use Quizits in the class. And they're going to look at safety. What is safety in the kitchen? And the students have their tablets or their phones, and they've all got names, and they have a little competition among each other to see who gets the highest score. Helps them to remember what they should and shouldn't do in the kitchen. And that way they're learning. It may not seem to people, it's playing a game, but you learn through play. Then the practical side is when you go into the kitchen, whatever you learn here, you put into practice in the kitchen. 2 weeks ago, the students made cheese paste and tuna. Now, it's interesting when they're learning, because I watched them, and cutting up the onion was a bit chunky, but they cut it up. Cutting the lemon, and getting the bowls to prepare everything, the ramekins. So you've got a, I call it, it's called meals en place. I call it meals in place. So you've got to have everything there on a tray before you start. Well, they've learned all of this and they've practiced it before. In this practical session, the teacher is not supposed to help you, because we're preparing you for the TVET.
Yes.
So we're looking now, and you forgot your bowl to put the skins and other things in. Somebody forgot the hot sauce. Somebody forgot the ramekin. So then you're realizing that while they know it, actually doing it there and remembering to get everything, that you needed a little help. So instead of just watch, she then had to turn around and help students. And she said, you know, you're supposed to be doing this. I'm just supposed to watch. And let me tell you, it came out quite good. I had tuna sandwich, it was nice. The cheese was quite nice, a bit hot with the pepper. But everything was done well, despite all the little things that they did not have in the beginning.
So once they show a level of independence and they pass certain assessments in the school, they can make that transition over to the adult facility.
Yes. Once they do that, parents have then to let them practice at home. We have a young man who's very good in the kitchen, but he doesn't get to practice at home. Right. Why am I teaching you something at school and you can't practice at home? It defeats the purpose. So you have to let them practice. It's a skill they're learning, and you don't know where that skill will take them. We have a young lady who graduated, and she's working for PTED at Sky Mall. We've had a young lady before who worked at Champers. So we have students out there, and it can be done.
In terms of the disabilities that you've listed, some of them are purely physical, which means that some of your students do have the mental capacity to be in a mainstream institution, but they're not.
Yes. I'll give you an example. We have a young student here. He turned 9 last week. He was at a primary school.
Public primary school.
He became ill, and they found out he had sickle cell. While they found out he had a stroke. While recovering from one stroke, he had another stroke. And he's here this term. This is first term here. He's a lovely child, and we're working with him. He cannot walk right now. He goes to therapy, and he's in a wheelchair, but he's in the progressive class, and he's doing quite well. It was daunting for him at first when he came, because when he saw the other students in wheelchairs, I think he realized that, oh my God, I'm going to be like this maybe forever. He cried. He spent the first day crying, and we consoled him. We took him outside. We held his hand. We did everything. His parents came for him, and we explained them to him. He came back another day. And then we had a performance here at the school, the graduation. And we invited him back into the graduation. And he performed with the other students. And he's doing quite well. He's a lovely child.
Is it a case where that primary school did not have the physical layout to take him back, or was it more than that? I'm just trying to understand.
Most schools, primary government schools in Barbados, do not take children who are not potty trained.
Okay.
So he has to have a pamper. He also has a feeding tube, a G tube. So they're not going to be able to deal with him at the school. The teachers have 23, maybe 30 students in a class. He needs more of a one-to-one at times. Who's going to change him? A parent can't go to the school and change him. So we have staff here who change students. I've done it myself. The deputy principal has done it. The social worker has done it. So we chip in, and he needs to be changed. Whoever needs to change, we all do it. He will not be able to go to a regular school unless they have aides to assist in changing.
Talk to me about the role of the social worker here.
The social worker is the person who, when we have issues, either medical, behavioral, financial, we write a referral, the staff write a referral to her, and she contacts the parents. She goes to homes, she does visits, she goes to psyche if the student has issues. We've had a student who has gone to psyche. We have a student here who attends psyche for schizophrenia, and she counsels that student. So that's her role. She's also responsible for Beauview, which is a independent living unit here on the property. It has 3 young men. One works for Carl Williams, the other 2 are part of the staff here at the school.
And tell me a little bit about the unit.
Oh, the unit is, well, what they do is they have to clean, they have to cook. She pays the bills. She would order this meals.
And by she?
The social worker. Her name is Joycelyn Bradford Haynes. I apologize for that. Miss Bradford does the grocery shopping. Before, she used to take them to the supermarket, but the board has decided that what needs to happen is that she needs to order the groceries. They don't really understand to pick up the groceries. While they're in their 40s and 50s, they don't have the capability of doing that. So you take them to the supermarket and you ask them to pick up the ketchup, they may. But you can't give them a list and send them down the aisle and ask them to collect all the items. So she would have taken them to the supermarket. She would have to go down the aisles with them and work with them that way. She would not give them the bill to pay. She would pay the bills for them, because you can't ask them to go to Massey and pay the bill. Change, amount of money that you give, they can't do that. They've been here. I came and I found them. And like I said, they're members of staff. They work well. And they're living there for, well, I came in for several years. They leave on weekends and they go to their families. They enjoy all of the activities at the school. They are part of all of the activities at the school. So if we're having an independence celebration, they're part of it. They are here on the property. Whatever we do, they're part of it. We never leave them out. We can't leave them out. They're part of us.
Correct. All right, Ms. Paul, we'll still a lot more to discuss. Stay with us. You're watching One on One.
Trees save lives. The Ministry of Environment and National Beautification invites all Barbadians to compete in the National Tree Planting Competition. By popular request, the competition will be extended until November 30th at 8:30 p.m. The successful entrant planting the most trees will win a prize of $15,000. Second prize, $5,000. Third prize, $3,000. Register on theplanting.org for further details. Let's beautify Barbados, and remember, trees save lives.
Tell me who a man spends his time with, and I'll tell you the type of man he is. Isn't it true that people become like the company they keep? I'm Chris Nan Hurdle, clinical psychologist and certified life coach. Where do you spend most of your time? What is your emotional space like? Do you find yourself most often among people who are negative, naysayers, doom and gloom, or fearmongers? Or do you find yourself mostly among people who are positive, optimistic, calm, collected, and reassuring, who exude confidence? What is your emotional space like? Be intentional. You are the pilot of your life.
Welcome back. We're chatting with the principal of the Challenor Creative Arts and Training Center here in Canefield, St. Thomas, Miss Sonia Pyle. Miss Pyle, before the break, you were telling me about all the wonderful work you and your team here are doing. Now, the institution is actually a private-run institution.
Yes.
And you survive off donations, fundraisers. You try to make your own money, as I said, through the fundraisers. But most of the students that are accepted here, is it most or all, they receive bursaries?
All of the students.
All of the students.
At first, once you're accepted, they may have to pay the tuition, which is $320. It's the cheapest tuition on the island.
$320
a term.
a term, okay.
Yes. Once I write the letter saying you've been accepted, you take it to the ministry and you will get your bursary. We may not get the money the same term, but we do get the bursary. So that means you don't have, the only thing they pay for would be the transportation, which is $100 to ride the coaches.
Okay.
School meals is $2 a week. The communication book, we have a communication book which the staff sat down and we developed to tell parents what happened during the course of the day. If anything happens at home, the parents write back and let us know. And should the social worker, Ms. Brappett, need to let them know of any issues at school, she can write in the book as well. And that book is $20. And if it is lost or damaged, it is $30 because we have to pay for the printing.
And you get a subvention from
the Ministry of
government.
Education. Mm-hmm. That pays for salaries and bills. We have donors who will then help the school.
You mentioned coaches. Let's look at transportation. I know that was an issue a few years ago. There was a parent who said that she wanted her daughter to attend the school, but transportation was a big issue.
And that child has been attending school. We have two coaches, one that the school owns and one that Variety, we're renting it, well, leasing it from Variety. They gave us a contract. During COVID, they weren't able to maintain the bus. So they asked us to pay for the bus. So we pay the insurance, we do the maintenance, and we have the bus on contract for 3 years. The bus that goes north can seat 5 students in wheelchairs, have 24 seats. The bus that goes south can take 4 wheelchairs. However, once you put children on the bus, the issue we have is that we don't have enough space on the bus for the students. So right now we have some students who are coming 2 days this week and 3 days next week. Or what we've done, and maybe persons won't like it, but we've asked some parents, your child is coming every day. We have a student who would like to come to school. Can you keep your child home maybe 2 days so that this child can come to school? So you're
That's
coming
a
to
major
school.
Sacrifice.
Yes, it is. But how do we get the students in school? So the parents work with us. They work with us. Without the parents, we can't get anything done. And we are grateful for the parents working with us. They've always worked with us. So you're at school for 5 days. My son wants to come to school. I ask you, Mom, could you, 2 days So now my son is able to come to school 2 days.
You mentioned 2 coaches. Don't you have a relationship with the transport board as well?
Transport board provides a bus. It leaves free of charge street at 7:30 in the morning, gets to school by 8, depending on the traffic. And it comes back at 2:30 in the evening to collect the students. And the drivers who drive the bus have always been supportive of Challenor, and we support them. And that is Challenor and Simmons. And when a couple terms ago, we had issues with the buses. We couldn't get a bus. And what they did is they would go and collect the students at Learning Center and come back for us. That was fantastic. And
So you only have access to one transport board bus?
one transport board.
So if you get another transport board bus, would that alleviate your transportation issue?
No, because the coaches collect students who are physically challenged. If you have 5 spots on the bus, but there are 6 students fill the spaces who have wheelchairs, then you cannot bring all. That is why we have to have the days out. You're out 2 days, I'm in 3 days.
So what would fix your problem?
Another bus would fix the problem. Also remember, the first bus that goes north, he goes to most St. Thomas, St. Joseph, St. Andrew, St. Peter. He hits those parishes, and some of those roads are not the best.
Yeah.
So the bus is old. It's a 16-year-old bus, and it's wear and tear on the bus. Sometimes the bus works, sometimes it doesn't. We have a chat. Each bus has a chat, and the parents know if the bus is working. You will tell me when your son is on the bus, so I know how long I have before the bus gets to me. Then I put it in the chat, and the other parent knows how long before the bus gets to them. That's the kind of collaborative work that we do with the parents. The buses are essential means for children to get to school. And the parents understand that we're working with them, trying our level best to get them to school. And we have to do some things that maybe they don't like. Maybe you don't like it, but we do it. The children come, they're happy here. Some children cry if they're not picked up. Parents, they call, today a parent called because the council also sends a bus. And right now, their buses are down. Their buses cannot bring students who have wheelchairs. And we have 3 students who ride the council bus. So the parent called and wondered if they can get on our bus. We don't have space.
And by council, you mean the Barbados Council?
The Barbados Council for the Disabled, yes.
And you are an associate member
Yes.
of the council. What does that relationship mean?
The council is the umbrella body. We are an affiliate of the council. So we attend the meetings, we vote at the AGMs. When they have president meetings, we represent the school, so we will tell them what we're doing here. All the organizations do that. We attend events from other organizations because we support each other. And the council helps us. They send a bus. They help us out. During COVID, they collected food items. So our bus would go and collect and distribute them to the students.
In terms of your role, how many students do you have in the primary school, in the school setting, sorry, and then how many students do you have in your adult facility?
In the school, we have 44, and in the adult center, 29.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned about the food prep program and what you sell from the food prep program in your hidden treasure shop.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't know about this hidden treasure.
Well, I think that's why it's hidden. Pre-COVID, we sold jams, jellies, and natural juices were supplied to the Grant Lee Adams International Airport through the BADMC. We sell drinks here at the school too as well. Persons will call and ask for drinks. And during Christmas, like right now, we have orders for gallons of sorrel juice, golden apple juice. We get orders for the jams and the jellies. So parents know, some of the board members also order, and that's how we get sales. Our strategies for marketing would need to be increased, improved, but that's a work in progress.
Have you ever reached out to somebody in the major supermarket lines?
No, the major supermarket lines, like I said, Massey and Jordan usually take our produce from the garden.
But I mean in terms of getting the jams now and the jellies in the supermarkets as well.
No, we have not done that. But if we get our marketing strategies in place, then that is something that we can look at for the future.
And obviously this is putting what the students have learned to the test in terms of them also getting to sell the stuff. So they're getting that experience of being in a real working environment.
Yes. When we attend, like on the 10th of December, we're going to Freedom Square. The students will attend, and that's where they get to practice selling, making change. So all the things that you would need in a job, you will be able then to do. They have to explain and sell the product to you. So say you have a book. They'll explain how the book was made, and they'll help you sell the books. The teachers sit, and the students do all of the work. So that's how they get their money, because they're earning the little stipend that they're going to get from the sales that they themselves make. We try to get the students involved in as many activities as possible. And here at Challenor, this independence, we're having an old-time Bajan independence. Activities such as hopscotch, pitching marbles, skipping, cricket. And then for food, we're having ham cutters and cheese cutters and butter cutters. I've never heard of a butter cutter.
Butter cutter.
Well, I'm willing to work with staff. This is staff doing this, so I'm willing to work. The students are going to be singing. The students in the school and the ATF, it's going to be a mixed choir. And the PE teacher will do the music. So staff are going to buy pigtails. Staff are going to bring in the fillings. So you're going to have tuna, you can have salmon. And Reynold has, the PE teacher's name is Reynold Lane. He has the breadfruit.
Members of the public are invited, or this is just for
this
students
is
and staff?
This is just for staff right now.
Okay.
And then we have staff and students, ATF and school. Then we have a Christmas event, which is a Bajan old-fashioned Christmas based on Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. I cannot give you any details on that because once again, the staff are doing the events. I'm told what they need and I do as I'm told. Okay, so for next year, we're having our annual expo and health extravaganza. Earlier this year, we had our it's an inaugural event, which we started, our Argo Expo and Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and I was the queen. I was chopping off heads everywhere. So that event, the Argo Expo and Health Extravaganza, will be on May 26th to 27th next year. Public is invited to that. This year we sold vegetables and jams and jellies. We invite the public from in the neighborhood, and we invited the school. So we're going to do that again. Because of COVID, we could only invite 10 students. This next year, we're going to invite more students and we advertise in the community and they come up. So come out and see us next year for our Expo Health Extravaganza.
Over the years, the Ministry of Education, by extension the government, has invested a lot more in teacher training in the area of special education. But do you think enough is being done?
When you work with children who have disabilities like we have here, what they are training in is good, but I think they need to bring the teachers here to see the students here and look at a different type of training. I've already discussed this with one of the teachers at Urdeston. I'll give you an example. The teachers at Urdeston are not going to learn that if you have a child with a disability, you don't put the hot dog as a hot dog, you cut it like a hot dog bun so it doesn't get stuck. That's not something they're going to teach them. That's something that we will teach the staff here. So going to Urdeston, I approve of it. I think it's an excellent idea, but there's certain things that they need to learn that you can only learn if you come to an institution like this. Most teachers aren't going to change.
But you said most teachers aren't going to change.
Most teachers in government school and even when they go to Urdeston aren't going to come here and change your pamper if they get a job here.
Okay.
But that's something that you may have to do. Your aide may be out today and we may not be able to pull another aide from another department. So then the onus is on you to glove up and do what you have to do. And most teachers aren't going to do that. I can train you, but will you want to do it? Sometimes you have to put the students in the wheelchair. So you have to learn how to lift. Those are things that they're not teaching. I don't know if they teach this, but how do you relate to parents? Parents can be challenging at times, and I find that if you talk to the parent like a human being, and you smile, and you let them know, you listen to them, you always listen, you listen a lot, you hear what they say, and then you relate to them from a human perspective. I hear you, I understand, and then you relate, well, this is how we see it. You speak softly, even when they're becoming aggressive and angry. I've had a parent who've come to Challenor and said, every time I come here, let's get a headache, because you always want me here. Called to a meeting, I smiled, I said, I have tablets though. You want paracetamol? She laughs. We have developed a really close relationship. And I can call her and ask her anything. I can tell her things that I couldn't tell her before. And we relate well. So that is one of the things that maybe they teach at Urdeston, I don't know. But we work with the staff here to let them know that. Our staff call the parents call the staff. We ask them not to call after 7 and don't call before 6 o'clock in the morning. And the parents, the teachers and parents talk to each other. If a child has an issue at home, they will call and tell the teacher. You need that. Maybe at Urdeston, they need to teach them that as well. It's important. You can't have a school where you have persons with disabilities if you can't relate to the parent. I can't explain it any better than that. It's very important. Urdeston needs, hopefully, they're teaching them that.
What is the single greatest challenge for the student here and then the institution of itself?
Transportation.
Transportation.
Money. Well, we get donations from ICBL, Manulife, Canadian Bank. The other institutions help us. I mean, take COVID. COVID, we didn't have any tablets. We didn't know where we were going to get them from. Liberty Store stepped up and gave us 5. After that, we had 7 Days Adventists. We had IOS in Black Rock, who gave us lots of tablets. So we have challenges, but corporate Barbados and the private sector, they step in and they help us, and we're eternally grateful for that. When they donate the money goes towards specific items. So if we get money from ICBL, that money will go towards insurance on the van, maybe maintaining the bus, because sometimes when you have the bus and it's broken, the items for the bus are expensive.
Yeah.
And therefore, and we let the donors know where the money is going and what it's been spent on, because we want to make sure that we are transparent. It's very important that we do that so that we continue to have a relationship and a good working relationship with all those persons who donate to Challenor.
You mentioned COVID, and I want to look at COVID-19. It's okay to have the donation of the tablets, etc., but you are a hands-on institution, and some of your students cannot use those devices. Tell me how COVID-19 impacted the Challenor Center.
We had, for those who are physically challenged, everything was done through therapy, teletherapy. So let's take a student here. The parent we would dial up by telephone. We would use the WhatsApp because she doesn't have internet. So we use WhatsApp. The other parents have internet. So while they're using their devices, she's on the phone. So a teacher would hold the phone up with the WhatsApp so she can see what the others are doing. And she participated that way. He gets therapy because the RTT would then sit.
The RTT.
The rehab therapy technician, which in the States would be a physical therapy assistant, would tell the parent how to do the therapy, how to move the hand, how to put on the braces, how to put the child between your legs and put him to sit up so he's not floppy. That's what they did in therapy with those students. When it comes to the other classes, because we got the donation of tablets, some of the other classes, they had no problems. ICBL donated to the progressive class. They donated to multiple exceptionalities. Those students got their own tablets that they keep. They have nothing to do with us. with the adults. You have one teacher went to the home because the child could not get on the tablet. He couldn't figure out how to type in the password. And we said, you really shouldn't do that. It's COVID. But she felt a need to help him to get on the class. And she did it several times, which she shouldn't have done. Chastise her, but she did it again. She cared. Yes. And she did that to about 2 students. One student broke the tablet. She went to get the tablet. And we were here. So 3 days a week we worked. And when she came with the tablet, we gave her another one. So COVID was stressful for the staff, learning how to use the technology. But Ann Hill and Dr. Gibbs and the other special needs schools all came together and they did trainings. So we learned about Nearpod, Quizits, and all the other programs that would be used by children.
What would you want the Barbadian public to know about the Challenor Center? It's been around for quite some time.
It's been around since 1964,
Yes.
so it's been around a lifetime. And we do good work. It's challenging. We've had 7 deaths in the last, 2013, 2016, we've lost 7 students. We had a death recently, and the burial would be in December. When the students die, we come together as a family. The parents, once again, very integral, and the staff. We feel it. To know that we care about our students. We work hard for the students. When we have events, it's not always that we can ask people to give us money. So some staff who have friends and families may ask an aunt or a mother or cousin to donate. We have independence, to give you an example, we have independence coming up, and a staff member is willing to buy a bucket of pigtails for our independence event. Staff will, they'll go and they'll make bread, they'll do cakes. The life skill teacher, she buys donuts and brings them in for her class. We care, we work with the students. It's hard for people to come to Challenor and see the children. Sometimes they cry because they're not accustomed of seeing persons in wheelchairs and they think, oh dear, the poor thing, they can't do it. You'll be amazed as to what some of those children can do. You ask a question, somebody will raise their hand, or they've been taught to look to the left or to the right. And if they are annoyed and they don't want to acknowledge you, they'll turn their heads. Some will stoops. You'll be amazed at the kind of things that they will do. We want people to know that they're real, they're human, they feel. We want them to know that we can work with them, we do work with them. We are working with the students. They are achieving. You don't get 6 persons with disabilities intellectually challenged, graduating with certificates level 1 in food preparation and cookery. That's a lot to graduate with. And we're trying with others to do the same thing.
No, as you said, you and your team here, you care, you're working with these students, they are progressing. As a country, are we conscious enough about the needs of those with disabilities?
No. You're not. Persons with disabilities are in Barbados. They're here. They're not going anywhere. And they're going to be here for a long time. What I found that most people tell you, I don't see people outside with disabilities. You sure? I said, yes. You have people who would call, they don't know that Challenor is still here. They think we've closed, but we're here. If parents, friends, family took persons with disabilities out into the community, they'll know that persons with disabilities exist. You won't have to then work so hard with persons with disabilities. Right now, we could use a home. A house where when the students leave here or any institution in Barbados, there's some place where they can go. They can spend a week, give the parents a bit of rest, a respite. And then on weekends, they can go back. They can live there Maybe we need a village, a place for persons who are physically challenged, who have autism, who have Down syndrome, whatever they are. But we don't have that. We need that. We need people to recognize that persons with disabilities can and do work. We need them to recognize that having a home means that we're part of a community. They can be part of a community. We can get the boys here to go out and cut grass. We just need a van. We just need the equipment. Hire us. We can do that. Persons with disabilities can work. Give them a chance.
And we appreciate all that you and your team are doing to make a difference in the lives of persons with disabilities.
We try.
Thank you very much, Ms. Powell, for talking to us.
You're welcome, and thank you.
You're most welcome.
We thank you.
You are most welcome. That was Ms. Sonia Powell, the principal of the Challenor Creative Arts and Training Center here in Canefield, St. Thomas. I am Lisa Lord. You are watching One on One. Do have yourself a wonderful evening.